party. It's 2023. Last time we had a show was February 28th of 20. Wow. Gretchen Peters. We had a full house, and she went back to Nashville and told everybody what a fun time she had. And right after that, I was getting calls from every A-list folk songwriter, singer-songwriter, and they said, "We'd like to come. We heard Gretchen said it's a great place to be." And then COVID hit. So we're working on getting back on track. I'm going to just do a little bit because I know who you came to hear. But I'm going to set a mood here. For $15, you could set the mood at your house too.
Okay.
$15? The only problem is if you got a big belly and you lean over, it goes like this. So we gotta do this. Some of you might remember that I had a dog named Shoes.
Yeah.
This was she passed away just before COVID hit. And, but I have a black guitar that's the exact model of this. This is my friend David Flamang who makes these guitars. I've got a black version of this, and this one is the blonde version. This is my golden retriever Shoes right here. Anyway, she passed away, and I thought I'm going to go for a couple years without a dog. And it didn't last. My sister and her daughter Jessica is here tonight. My niece and her boyfriend Mike. Are you up there?
Yes, I am.
All right. She called me and said they have a Great Dane up in St. Cloud that needs an unusual place for a home. No other dogs. Somebody's got a fenced-in yard and somebody who is home a lot. And I said, I could go do that. So it was a Great Dane, and I fell in love with them. And then I got involved with the organization, and now I have 3 of them. And out of a courtesy to all of you, I've got Bubby, Snort, and Delilah. Every one of them can break your foot if they stand on you right. Or they'll knock you over. You can ask Chris or Brent, who was in the house yesterday. So they're up at the Stone Mountain Lodge up in Lane for the night. So anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of maybe just a little bit of a song, because we got Tom and Tim coming up. Just recently I toured with Danny O'Keefe up to the Canadian border, and on the way up I wrote the shortest love song ever written. By me. There might be shorter ones, but I fell in love in seconds flat. She didn't fall, and that's that. Thank you very much. Kind of gets you right here, doesn't it? Anyway, Tom asked if I would just do, I'm going to do just a verse of a couple songs, just to get you guys lively, and you know the reason there's an opening act is to make the other acts look good, and I've been told I do that really well. Well, you see him in the middle, you see him in the right, you see him all around the joint, singing in the night, bullfrogs singing in the night. Well, you see him in the pond, you see him in the creek, all lined up, cheek to cheek. Come on down and take a peek, bullfrogs singing in the night. Well, you don't see him much in the light of day. Maybe they run out of things to say, or maybe they're off at church to pray, bullfrogs singing in the night. And that, you'll get more if you come again to Creek House. I'm going to keep that one short. Most people that have been here before know it and know that it changes every time I sing it. But the one I want to get to, and this is the one, do any of you have heart conditions? This one is a little bit out there. I sang this for the public the first time at Audrey and Todd Hansen's house. And they had their grandkids there. And I got a call at midnight. I think it was Christmas night. Or maybe not. And Todd says, Glenn, my grandkids are brushing their teeth and they're singing your song. So if you just indulge me a little bit, this is, it's become a classic in its own right. I'll try to go in the same key. How many of you have dogs? How many of you have dogs that eat poop? I'm not the only one. Well, there's a word for it, and it's Greek, coprophagia. Coprophagia is an old Greek word. Doctors use it when a dog eats a turd. Hey, don't look at me like that. It's just something I heard about poop-eating dogs. I'm going to keep it short. You know what makes my skin turn green? My dog thinks he's his own self-serve machine. Hey, keeps the yard clean. Poop-eating dog. Last one. I had a dog and his name was Cooper. And now you're getting on to him. I love him. He was super duper. And you're right, he didn't need no scooper. He was a poop-eating dog. Poop-eating dog, you old poop-eating dog. Out there munching on that organic log. Save some for later, don't be such a hog. You poop-eating dog. Someone get the hook. Someone get the hook. I've been waiting 3.5 years to play that song. Thank you. Tell you what, the reason I'm up here is I wanted to say that I opened for Tom Peskis and I opened for Tim Stafford. It's a 2-for-1 thing. And what's so fun about it is Tom has become a real good friend through writers' workshops. I've gotten to meet Nathan through that and other people. And there's going to be a workshop this weekend with Tim doing a writer's workshop. And about a year ago, Tom said, you know, someday I'd like to play on the stage of Creek House. And I said, okay, we'll figure out what we can do. And then when we heard Tim was coming, I said, I think I found the place and the time for Tom to be at Creek House. And it came just as Daniel Keefe had called and said, Glenn, I'm doing a tour up to International Falls. I want you to be on the bill with me. And I thought, wow, this has been an idol of mine since '72. And when he did that, I knew instantly that I had to call Tom and say, I've just been given a gift to play a show with Daniel Keefe. And I thought, I've got to pay this forward and have Tom play a concert with Tim Stafford. So would you please welcome good friend, wonderful musician, and he's going to play 3 of his originals for you. I think you're going to really, really like it. Tom Peskis.
I brought my hat. I learned from Glenn, the hat does 80% of the work. That's what he tells me anyway. So, Creek House, open, play music again. Is this awesome or what? I'm going to talk a lot about Creek House tonight, but and some of my experiences with it. But right now, I figure there's about 5 of you that know who I am. 1 of you is married to me. And the rest of you maybe don't know me so well, so my name is Tom Peskis. And this song is kind of a little bit of my story. I was born at the end of the line, in a little prairie town in a mud simpler time. When the trains came in, turn them around, send them back down the line. But the trains don't run out here these days, the tracks are pulled up and gone. And the depot is a museum now, like a lot of my old hometown. Walking along the old railroad bed in the footsteps of my younger days. The hot prairie wind brings me the sweet familiar smell of fresh cut hay. As a kid I made my money and found my strength throwing them bales around. But machines do all of that work now, what do kids do in this town? And I hardly know anyone who lives here anymore. Some I used to know, lost touch with long ago. And the generation that raised me is mostly dead and gone. As I walk the streets of this village, somehow this place still feels like home. This town is more than where I'm from, it's part of who I am. The Catholic Church still stands, was the center of so much of my youth. There was comfort in the ritual, confidence in knowing God's own truth. In the graveyard behind the church we laid Dad to rest so many years ago. Mama lay beside him when it's time to come home. And I hardly know anyone who lives here anymore. Some I used to know, lost touch with long ago. And the generation that raised me is mostly dead and gone. As I walk the streets of this village, somehow this place still feels like home. This town is more than where I'm from, it's part of who I am. Yeah, this town is more than where I'm from, it's part of who I am. Is a loving audience. You guys are awesome. Thanks. I'm gonna have to do some more. So, yeah, wanted to say I started playing guitar 50 years ago. You'd think I'd be better at it by now, right? 50 years ago I started playing, and then I wasn't around anybody that could teach me anything, so I just kind of sat in the corner and it was furniture for 25 years. And then I decided, nearing my 50th birthday, that I was going to get the guitar out and get practiced up and get back on stage. And so the first song that I relearned when I picked up the guitar was The City of New Orleans. Now, if you're going to relearn guitar after 25 years, there are easier songs to learn than City of New Orleans. There's about 9 chords in that thing. But the fact is, I love ballads, always have. They are, the ballad to me is a story song. It tells a story front to back, kind of like reading a book or watching a movie. In fact, this song is called The Ballad of Henry Plummer. And my friend Phil says, you know, you can read a book about Henry Plummer, or you can spend 3 hours watching a movie about Henry Plummer, or you get the whole story right here in 3.5 minutes. So, what a bargain. What a bargain. It is. It really is. And, you know, this was my first attempt at a co-write, too. Or one of them, anyway. So I had 2 co-writers on this. My best friend, Nathan Fell, who's sitting right there. Raise your hand. Take a bow. And the other guy's name is Greg Connor. He's a member of the Minnesota Association of Songwriters. We all are. He could see through the bars, selling his own jail. The gallows he had built for other men. But today fate was clear, he would be the one to die out there beneath that big Montana sky. In 1862, Virginia City was a boom town. There was gold in the hills of Alder's Gulch. Men came from far and wide to stake their claim and seek their prize under Sheriff Henry Plummer's watchful eye. The ruthless band of outlaws was roaming Alder's Gulch. They robbed the miners of their hard-earned gold. Treasure they would kill, and sometimes just for the thrill. They were evil, they were brash, and they were bold. Henry Plummer was a lawman, respected, firm, and fair. If reason failed, his aim was fast and true. He kept the peace in town, but when that gang came around, there was nowhere to be found. Sheriff Henry Plummer's not the man they thought he was. He lived his life on both sides of the law. He ran the gang that stole the gold and killed 100 men. He was the problem he was hired to solve. Rounded up the gang, hung high from the nearest tree. Red Yeager bargained for his life that day. He named the members of the gang, including Henry Plummer. They thanked him, then they hung him anyway. It was a cold winter morning when they came for Henry Plummer. He cried and begged and promised them his gold. They would not let him loose, and he faced an awful truth. Gold is worthless when your neck is in the noose. Now they say that Henry Plummer had 1,000 pounds of gold, never found if it was ever there at all. A legend or a lie, it's really all the same, you see. It's only choosing which way you believe. Nathan's sitting here going, he's never seen that instrumental before. Where's that come from? So anyway, the footnote to that story is that there are people still today going to take their summer vacations, going to Montana and searching for Plummer's gold. It's never been found. But the thing that they did notice is that after the Plummer gang was rounded up and they were all killed, the murders and the robberies continued. And so the question became, were the vigilantes seeking justice or eliminating the competition? Stay tuned. Might be another song coming out of that. So yeah, I walked in here with Nathan actually. We came here to see David Greer. It must be 8-9 years ago, a long time ago. And I walked into this Creek House and I said, wow, this place is magic, it's special. And it still is. The feeling never goes away every time I walk through the door. But I told Glenn and I told Nathan at that time, I said, and maybe I just told myself in the slot I did, but I said, I want to play on that stage someday. You know, sometimes dreams come true. They just do. I have a lot of dreams. This is one, and I'm so happy you're here to share it with me. And thank you so much, Glenn, for making this happen for me. All right. So you guys remember the movie Pretty Woman? With Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. The opening scene of that movie and the ending scene are exactly the same. as a tall, lanky black man walking down the street, happy as can be, and just talking to anybody and nobody. He's just saying, "What's your dream? Everybody got to have a dream. What's your dream?" You remember that? No? Go back and watch the movie again. It's there, I promise. Anyway, this is my last song here for tonight, and notice I said for tonight, Glenn. And then we're going to get to the guy you really came to see. But this is a song about another dream of mine that hasn't come true yet. The most important word in the English language. Well, it's not much to look at. You might think it's a dump. Added on 2-3 times and almost burned down once. Sags a little near the middle, it's 110 years old. It's just this little shack I own out on Old Mill Road. It's about an acre of land there. It used to be a farm. Right before I bought it, they tore the old barn down. Sold off lots, built up all these brand new fancy homes. All around this little shack I own out on Old Mill Road. Well, the yard slopes to the south, where Spring Creek runs through the back. I know every inch of that ground, every tree and bush and rock. Summertime, it's like a park when the grass is freshly mowed. It's a perfect place to build a dream out on Old Mill Road. Well, I thought I'd build a home there when I was in my prime. But I'm older now and still somehow I wonder if there's time. I know that I should sell the place, but I just can't let it go. Just a dream, but dreams die hard out on Old Mill Road. I'm gonna build that home there. I know I have to try. Giving up would be easy, but easy's not my style. What's a man without a dream? I'm sure I don't want to know. So even if it's just a dream, I'll keep on dreaming out on Old Mill Road. Even if it's just a dream, I'll keep on dreaming out on Old Mill Road. Just like he said, we were talking about this, and it's, God, what happens if I get nervous? He goes, everybody gets nervous. Even the pros have been doing this for years, they get nervous. It takes about 3 songs before they relax and settle in. So how many songs am I doing, Glenn?
I just want to tell you what a privilege it is to have Tom here. Don't go away. He was responsible for having Verlin Thompson show up here. We would have had Irene Kelly here, but I think we were still getting a little nervous with the COVID thing about.
We were way nervous about that.
So that didn't happen. But I can tell you, I've gone to see Tom play maybe 6 to 10 times now. We were on a bill last summer together, and this guy keeps getting better and better, and he's just fun to have around, and he made it happen tonight. Tim is here tonight because of Tom. So,
Thank you so much. Since I keep getting better, the first show that he came to, I was down in Redmond, my very first solo songwriter show.
And he was great.
I said so bad. There was nowhere to go but up from there.
Anyway, I think it's only fitting that he should also introduce Tim Stafford.
I will introduce Tim Stafford. This guy's got a resume. I actually had to make notes. Tim Stafford has been in the music business forever. He's been around since there was music, not quite. But as Glenn mentioned earlier, singer-songwriter of the year for IBMA again. This is like the third time for him. So yeah, he's pretty impressive that way. And not only that, he played guitar for Alison Krauss in Union Station in the 90s for a while. And he's a busy studio musician, plays a lot on a lot of records. You hear him all the time, you just don't know it. One of those kind of deals. And teaches guitar and songwriting at East Tennessee State University. And for those of you that are in the bluegrass acoustic music community, you know that ETSU is where you go if you're doing this kind of music and you want to get educated about it. And yeah, we were driving over here and he was talking about this. He's very self-effacing, you'll see this. And I said, besides, you're Tim freaking Stafford. And is he here? Is he ready? Do we need to knock on the door? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tim Stafford.
Hey. How about Tom? I gotta tell you, I really enjoyed those songs. That's good stuff. And of course, none of us are ever gonna outdo the dog poop song. It wins. Well, I'm glad to be here in Minnesota. This is a little ways away from the house from me. I'm from East Tennessee. But I'm actually from so far back in the sticks, even the Episcopalians handle snakes. Some of you got that. That was really good. Try to do some of my songs for you. I've written over several years here and covered a lot of these, but I have an instrumental record out. I did bring it with me. It's called Guitar Melodies. And I'll kick off with one of these. And when I wrote this tune, I didn't have a name for it. And I tried to think. It's hard to come up with names for instrumentals. I'm just telling you. I had a neighbor one time that had llamas, and I was trying to come up with a name for an instrumental and called it Mama Llama. Because he kept talking about, well, the Mama Llama is, and I was like, well, that's pretty good. Then I heard Ned Lubrecki on Sirius, and he played Mama Llama, and he said, there's one by Tim Stafford that proves we truly run out of names for this radio. Thank you. Thanks, Ned. But this one here kind of reminds me of a waterfall. There's a waterfall close to me called Margaret Falls, so that's the name of it.
on the prairie at night, headed for Austin. She worries about him alone and prays for him often. She said, don't cover your tracks so you can find your way back. Not a cloud in the sky as the coyote cries in the distance. In Texas tonight. He camped for the night on the banks of the Big Brazos River. And he dreamed of his wife back at home and the life he would give her. He said it wouldn't be long until his hard times are gone. He hums a sweet tune as the gold harvest moon slowly rises in Texas tonight. No one can say what will be. In life, there's no guarantees. Somewhere on the prairie tonight, this side of Austin, she worries about him alone and prays for him often. She'll dream of love without him until she sees him again. Not a cloud in the sky as the coyote cries in the distance. In Texas tonight. Stars and I wrote, and I had that melody in my head, and I was trying to think of a way to, I don't know, make a song out of it, and Bobby came over to the house to co-write. We do a lot of co-writing, you know, and he said, I got this song idea, and he had the first verse of it, and I said, you know, that kind of sounds like that melody that I had. And so that's the way it works sometimes. You got one of you has a melody, the other has a set of lyrics, and I way over the first verse. This is from there. I think Tom and Glenn also mentioned I'm teaching actually. I'm an artist in residence at East Tennessee State University. I heard. Hey, how about that? It's the only place in the United States where you can get a 4-year degree in bluegrass music. How about that? Isn't that crazy? What are you going to do with it? I guess you're going to play bluegrass, right? Yeah. So good guess. But we have a lot of great students, and we've had some great ones come from the state of Minnesota. We have Becky Buller, who came from Minnesota. The guy who plays dobro in the band that I'm in, Blue Highway, Gary Holtman, is from International Falls. And, you know, it's there's some great musicians from up in this part of the world. I just did a podcast interview with Ari Silver. You guys know Ari?
Oh, yeah.
And
I didn't realize till we got talking. I knew his dad Kevin back when he played with Kate McKenzie and I played with Allison. We used to play all the time together. Oh yeah, you're his kid. You weren't born yet. But here's a song that a group called the Grascals. I don't know if anybody knows who
Oh yeah, yeah.
They recorded this song. It's another one of Bobby Sargent wrote. Kind of a takeoff on Whiskey Before Breakfast. It's called Clear Corn Liquor. The sun goes down, moonshine holler. Go down to Paps and get a beer swallow. Go back to the bug, sweep off the floor. Grab you a jug, have a little more. Fiddle and Billy's back to the bone. Play the promenade till the cows come home. Grab your partner, Sally is a good one. Would say would, but wouldn't say wouldn't. The best things in life are biscuits and gravy. Apple still in my red-headed baby. Nothing in the world that'll smack you quicker than a red-headed girl and clear corn liquor. Right foot forward, left foot in, do-si-do, then do it again. Slow down, boys, take a little one, and the girls might dance till 3 in the morning. Take another horn of that homemade wine, another pull on the jug and I'm feeling just fine. Wine's too sweet, beer's too bitter. Where's my girl? I gotta go get her. The best things in life are biscuits and gravy. Pablo still in my black-headed baby. There's nothing in the world that'll smack you quicker than a red-headed girl, clear corn liquor. Best things in life are biscuits and gravy. Pablo still in my red-headed baby. There's nothing in the world that'll smack you quicker than a red-headed girl. Clear corn liquor. Well, it's funny where you get ideas for songs. I was coming up with another melody, and I had this melody that I had recorded, and I really liked the melody, and I couldn't come up with anything to put a song to it about. And I was watching something on CNN, or no, it was Nat Geo, and it was talking about Tibet. You know, like we all think about Tibet a lot, you know. I know. And you know, I had heard about Tibet. They call it the roof of the world, and it's like the highest plateau in the world. And I had just read a book about some people who tried to climb Mount Everest and didn't make it. And I put these two things together, and I made up a fictional Sherpa. Stay with me here. And he's actually not from Nepal like all Sherpas are. He's from Tibet. I don't know how it happened, but he made it over there, and he was guiding people up the mountain. And I won't tell you the whole story, but it's one Blue Highway recorded, and it was actually a #1 song several times here in the last year. The Bluegrass charts, we do have charts in Bluegrass. It's called On the Roof of the World. When the black-necked cranes take the wing, and the peach blossoms bloom in the spring, I will go where the blue glaciers flow, and the cheer pines sing down below.
Oh, it's been many years since I left the high rocky plains of the west. When the rivers run blue, I'll return once again to the roof of the world. Heard the sheep across the frozen lake as our tent, the howling timber shakes, while in the cold rocky heights undisturbed stands the grandmother goddess of the world. Oh, it's been many years since I left the high rocky plains of Tibet. When the rivers run blue, I'll return once again to the roof of the world. We came to base camp in May and hoped to climb without delay. We were caught by a storm above the steppe, and our teardrops froze as we wept. Oh, it's been many years since I left the high rocky plains of Tibet. When the rivers run blue, I'll return once again to the roof of the world. Well, like I said, there's all kinds of places that you can find songs. Many years ago, I was talking to some friends of mine and ex-wife, actually, my ex-wife. Her aunt was an absolutely incredible woman. I never met this lady, but everybody loved her. Her name was Olive Stockton. And one day, my ex-wife gave me this poem, and she said, Aunt Olive wrote this as her eulogy. And I think you could put a melody to it and make a song out of it. If she hadn't thought of that, I never would have done it. But I did, and Blue Highway recorded it on an album called Midnight Storms. Anybody ever heard that record? Thank you, both of you. This one came out in 1896. Oh no, 1996, sorry. Yeah. But I did put a melody to the song, and I didn't change a single word in the poem. So these are the exact words that were spoken over Olive Stockton's body. And since we recorded it, it's actually been played at wakes and funerals countless times. I don't know how many times. If you've lost somebody, I want to send it out to you too. It's one called Someday. Someday when my last line is written, someday when I've drawn the last breath, when my last words on earth have been spoken, and my lips are sealed in death, don't look on my cold form in pity, don't think of me as one dead. It'll just be the house I once lived in. My spirit by then will have fled. I'll have finished my time here allotted, but I won't be in darkness alone. I will have heard from heaven the summons to come on home. And when my body is in the grave, Don't think that I'll be there. I won't be dead, but living in the place Jesus went to prepare. And after all is said and done, know that my last earnest prayer is that my loved ones be ready someday to meet me there. Thank y'all so much. I thought I'd do a couple of tunes that I co-wrote with a really good friend of mine named Steve Gully. I don't know if you guys, you bluegrass people probably know who Steve is. Steve was one of my best friends, and we started writing back when he was playing with Doyle Lawson, and he came up to me and he said, "Brother man," just the first thing he said to me, "Brother man, I'd like to write a song with you." And I said, "All right, we'll try it," you know. And I don't know how many, we wrote dozens and dozens. We put out 2 records. Well, Steve got pancreatic cancer a few years ago, and he died within 5 weeks. It was over. But his memory sure lives on. I'll do these couple songs here that I wrote with Steve in his memory. I had this idea because a friend of ours, a promoter from out in California, we were out there playing a festival in Susanville, California. I don't know if anybody knows where that's at, but it's a beautiful area. It's kind of looks like Montana, big open sky, you know. We flew into Reno and then drove up to Susanville. And I said, man, this scenery, I was just oohing and awing. You know, it's so beautiful here. It just opens up wide open prairie, you know. And he said, well, you know, my friend of mine said he wouldn't live anywhere where he couldn't see both ends of the train. And I was like, not only is it true, I'm writing it down right now. And no, you ain't getting part of it. That's always the next question. It's like, where's my royalty check? Well, don't work like that. But I did write this song with Steve, and it's called Both Ends of the Train. I rode with him in Rockville in 1925. He was doing life, I was doing time. His memory drifted back when he was most alive, when Frank and Jesse James in their prime. He was a corporal for the Cowway in the Sioux, Sulphur Springs to Kansas Lake. Ran into trouble when his soldier days were through, ended up 1,000 miles away. Don't waste fond words or sad goodbyes. Lay me down on the wide open plain, out beneath the quilted sky. I can see both ends of the train. Said I saw the buffalo, the herds would last for days, back before the railroad came. Night saw moved on without me, but I miss the older ways. I know it can never be the same. They buried him in Rockville, and his kind won't rise again. I hope his soul can find some rest. To the world he's long forgotten, but to me he was a friend. I still recall his last request. Don't waste fond words or sad goodbyes. Lay me down on the wide open plain, out beneath the quilted sky, where I can see both ends of the train.
This is actually based on a relationship that I went through, and it's called "How Did That Turn Into My Problem?" Songs can be great, you know. The thing is, they can be cathartic, and they can also be, you know, educational. They can make you a lot of money. I'm still waiting on that one right there. Tell me, how did that turn into my problem? I'm not the one who up and walked away. You made the bed, now you gotta sleep in it, mama. You're still the best mistake I've ever made. You called me up at 3 in the morning. Your new boy toy turned out to be a fool. Seems you left you flat, gone without a warning. Now you got the nerve to ask me what to do. Tell me, how did that turn into my problem? I'm not the one who up and walked away. You made your bed, and now you gotta sleep in it, mama. You're still the best mistake I've ever made. Tell me, girl, you might look like your daddy. You lit the match, watch that bridges burn. Go ahead and cry. Bet you thought you had me. Myself, you got nowhere else to turn. Tell me, how did that turn into my problem? I'm not the one who up and walked away. You made your bed, now you gotta sleep in it, mama. You're still the best mistake I've ever made. Tell me, how did that into my problem? I'm not the one who up and walked away. You made your bed, and I gotta sleep in it, mama. You're still the best mistake I've never made. Yeah, you're still the best mistake I've never made. Oh, goodness. Yeah, well, you know how that works. Then they think it's about them. But it's all about me. And if you keep doing that, then you can be like Carly Simon, who did You're So Vain, and they're still trying to figure out who it's about, right? I heard she had a raffle for charity, and she told the winner of the raffle, who donated millions of dollars to charity, who it was about. And I heard it was Warren Beatty, but just a guess. I don't know. I got a lot of good writers, a lot of good friends. That's the great thing about co-writing too, is that you know, they end up being your friends. And I love the friendships that I have with a lot of these guys that I write with: Bobby Starnes, Steve Bailey, Tom Hughes. We'll do a couple of songs that Tom and I wrote here in a minute. And a guy that I've written just a few with, but I really love writing with him, is Joe Newberry, if you guys know who Joe is. Joe's a great writer. He's a co-writer of a Song of the Year that the Gibson Brothers did several years ago. And he tours with Mike Compton, who's also a teacher at East Tennessee State University. Along with guitar player of the year, Trey Hensley, East Tennessee State. He's a teacher. And Tony Rice's brother, Wyatt Rice, is a teacher at East Tennessee State. So if you have any kids about that age, come talk to me. I'll fix you up. Joe came over to the house, and I said, "Man, what are we going to write about?" That's what you usually say. And he said, "I don't know." He said, what kind of guitar you got? And I showed him my old Martin. I got an older Martin guitar. He had an old Gibson guitar, which I love those too. And we started looking at them and turning them upside down. You know what you do when guitar players, we're such nerds. We're total nerds when it comes to guitars. And then inevitably we did what you do with guitars. We start smelling inside. Anybody here got an old guitar? You know what I'm talking about, don't you? They smell so good. It's just so crazy. It's got. I'm pretty sure that Saks Fifth Avenue is going to come out with that scent at some point. Banner Gibson. You know. But we started talking about how good they smell. I said, well, how can we write about that? Because that sounds like a pretty cool thing. And he said, and this story developed as we went along. And it turned out to be real sad. So I apologize in advance. But it's one called The Marks. I sat there a while, didn't want to go in. Finally opened the door in my car. Inside the church, there on the stand, my grandfather's old guitar. The smell of the wood filled up the room like so many times before. It's like he was saying, I'm not really gone, but boy, I can't play this box anymore. And inside it smelled like whiskey and tears, dust from dances and cigarette ashes, old spice and gin and herringbone trim, but mostly it smelled like him. So I took it home, held it up to the light, saw things I never noticed before. I turned it over, I saw the mark of every belt that he ever wore. The neck with its divots like valleys and hills, all frets worn from the blade. The finish was cracked, and the grain saw daylight as close as the Last Judgment Day. And outside it looked like cradle to grave, dust from dances and cigarette ashes, top paper thin with spidery skin, so mostly it looked like him. All the marks, proud battle scars of endless nights and nameless bars, he left his mark on country boys and old guitars. And when I play it, I hear whiskey and tears, dust from dances and cigarette ashes, a long time to spend, the song that won't end, and mostly I sound like him. I do my best to sound like him. It's too sad, ain't it? I mean, it's too sad. I'll tell you what, I think I will do a song that Tom Mutes and I wrote. I got to know this guy, Tom Mutes. Tom is from Germany, and he spells his name Thommjutz. So my sister said, "You gonna write with that Tom Mutes?" So it's Tom Mutes. Tom is a Grammy-nominated songwriter. He teaches songwriting at Belmont University down in Nashville. Had some really, really great, famous students. And Tom played with Nancy Griffith for quite a while. And he's also one of these guys, he's just been around everywhere. He got John Prine to sing one of his songs. Pretty much says it all. I don't know how you pulled that one off, but we during the pandemic, we started writing every week, and we wrote sometimes twice a week. And by the end of the pandemic, we had like 85 songs. And we said, man, we got to do something with these songs. I mean, you know. And we still got a ton of them, but we put a record out called Lost Voices last year.
Yeah.
And I did bring some CDs. Also brought some of mine, Steve Gully's CDs, and Bobby Starnes and I did a CD together. So brought those, had some solo records, and I'll tell you about the Tony Rice book if anybody's interested in that, because I did bring some of those books too. But Tom and I, we write really different songs. They're not love songs. This one here is about a Negro League baseball team from Elizabethton, Tennessee, that from the 30s to the 50s had this reputation in East Tennessee that was just stellar. They beat everybody in the world, and they played all the big teams, even though they were pretty much an amateur team, and they were barnstormers is what they were. They would go to towns, you know, and I mean they would do all these crazy things in addition, kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters before their time, and they sort of got forgotten. But a lady called J.C. Augustus in Elizabethton rediscovered their history, found some of the original Blue Grays. That was the name of the team, the Blue Grays. And there's a plaque at the baseball field where the Elizabethton High School team plays about the Blue Grays now, so you can see it. And we wrote this song about them. And this is true stuff. Just a bunch of guys from Elizabeth, Tennessee, too far back in the sticks for the Negro League. But from 35 to 55, the hottest team around. We couldn't find a better show when the Blue Grays came to town. Played the Kansas City Monarchs and the Philadelphia Stars, the Asheville Blues, Nashville Cubs, all comers near and far. Cracked the bat, climbed the mound, another perfect throw. Well, they took on every rival, but they also fought Jim Crow. Barnstorming baseball all across the South, and the years of segregation until we find out. Travel wasn't easy and mostly done at night. Didn't know a different way, but they knew it wasn't right. They often stayed in churches in the colored neighborhood. Well, the white teams wouldn't play them, cause the Blue Grays were too good. Barnstorming baseball all across the South, and the years of segregation until we find out. Chick Farney, Big Red, and all the other guys, the best that ever swung a bat across the color line. When Jackie finally broke it on the field of dreams, he was standing on the corner of every small town team. Barnstorming baseball all across the South, and the years of segregation until the final out. I said it's barnstorming baseball all across the South, and the years of segregation until the final out. Thank y'all so much. I think I'll probably do one more for you, if that's okay. Is that all right, Glenn? We'll take a break, and I'll come back and then I'll see if y'all want to hear some more stuff. solo record, did bring some of those with me. Excuse me, called Tunes and Ballads.
Yeah.
And this one is, it's got instrumentals on it, but it's also got some ballads. And I love that ballad of Henry that Tom did. That was pretty cool with it. I love that story. Ballads are great things. I had my students write ballads. And a ballad can be almost anything because John Lennon did the ballad of John and Yoko. There's so many, so many great ballads, through the years. And of course, there's the great ballad tradition of English American ballads. But I wanted to write story songs, and that's what this whole thing is about. So I'll do this last one here for you. And this is about a topic that I always wanted to write about. See, the thing is, here's the thing. Not only am I a guitar nerd, I actually went to school and worked on a PhD in history. What a nerd. Oh my God. Extra nerd. But I've always loved the West, and I don't know what it is about it. I just love it, and I had to get all that out of my system, so I think I've written a song about every Western alcohol that there is. I'll do one later on Billy the Kid that I wrote, but there's one guy that had one of the most interesting stories that I'd never written about before, and that was Buffalo Bill Cody. Buffalo Bill, if you didn't know, lived an incredible life. He was an Army scout, he was an actor, and he also decided at one point he was going to try to document what he saw disappearing in front of his eyes, which was the West. So he created this thing called the Wild West Show. And it went on for years and years and years. He played for everybody from the Queen of England. You wouldn't believe the crowds of people. This is the first form of mass entertainment in the world, was the Wild West Show. And people like Sitting Bull were in it. And Annie Oakley. They're both in this song, too. Thank y'all so much. I'll just do this one more. It's called Wild West. I'm just an old Jayhawker, scout and spy. Rode the Pony Express before on the revenue station line. I shot 4,000 buffalo to feed the roadmen. I took the scalp of yellow hair, and I would do it still again. I met Bud Line in Nebraska, and he rode a pack of lies. But the Eastern dandies loved it, much to my surprise. I became a daring hero on every stage across the land. Spent summers scouting with the Army for Lakota and Cheyenne. Some say I am an artifact of disappearing times, but tonight beneath the circus tent I'll bring it all alive. Lay down your silver dollar, for I'll bet you've never seen lovers making sure the envy of the Kaisers and the kings, where the Cossacks and the vaqueros famed indeed have been. All come alive before your eyes, and the West is wild again. So I began to tell the story in 1883 of how the West was won and lost by saddle tramps like me. I met the Queen of England for her golden jubilee, a grand command performance, none like it ever seen. Well, Annie was a beauty until she was provoked. Shot the ashes off a cigar 40 paces while he smoked. But a Buddha they called Sitting Bull became my dearest friend, and he died for sins of white men, but that I still contend. Some say I am an artifact of disappearing times, but the night beneath this circus tent I will bring it all alive. Lay down her silver diamond, I'll bet you've never seen. Love was British, all the envy of the casters and the kings, where the Cossacks and the carols fain indeed have been. All come alive before your eyes, and the West is wild again, and the West is wild again.
Hey, I have to tell you that since we last saw each other 3.5 years ago, things have happened, and we have people in the crowd. I just want to say a quick thank you. That big kettle of pulled pork in the back. Oh, isn't that good? Todd and Audrey Hanson brought that tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Todd and I go back to 1970 or so. He's in a thing called the Jug Band, and I was doing the open mics or the talent shows at Stillwater High School. 4 years ago, I was off seeing a friend who happens to be right over here, Jason Grant, and we played guitar a little bit together. Since we saw each other last, COVID can do strange things. He found Nikki and they got married. Yeah, right here. And that made me extremely happy. But I also want to tell you that I was moved to tears tonight when I found out. I introduced her, I mentioned my niece Jessica. She's my goddaughter. She's sitting up on the rail with her boyfriend Mike, and she came down and corrected me. She said, They went on a trip last year up to Canada, Niagara Falls, and when they got back, I picked them up at the airport, and I said, Mike, and I didn't know him very well at the time, I said, Mike, what was your favorite thing about the trip? And he said, everything. I thought, this guy's a keeper. This guy knows what life is about, so thank you. We also have two, do I see you in the back? We have two Klondike cakes here from the St. Paul Winter Carnival. Klondike Cake 2006. Brittany is right there with her hand up. And Moret, can I, if you'll just indulge me a little bit. I met Moret back in 1968. She was the very first young woman. She was a girl back then. First girl I ever met moving to Minnesota. And I thought, wow, if they're all this nice, this is going to be a great place to live. And I was going to our class reunion a few years ago. And I had just gone through a divorce, and I was feeling really bad. And I thought, I don't want to go in and see my class and have everybody say, what you been doing lately? I've been getting divorced. And I sat there in my car crying. Like, I don't want to go in. And then I saw Moret. She was wearing this wonderful red dress. And I just thought, I would go in just to see her. And so I wiped my eyes up, and then she told me she had a similar story. She didn't really want to go either. And I'm glad she did. So Klondike Cake, 2023. So I also need to quick thank Brent Bowman up here, he helped rebuild the front entryway. We had some flooding that rotted out some joists. You all would have been taking an express lane down to the lower floor here had he not been here this week. I want to thank Effie, Brent Snyder. He came over today and washed chairs, so your bottoms are not full of dust right now. I have more to say at the end of the show, but let's get on to Tim Stafford. I had a wonderful, Kathy Chalman just said, this is a guy that paints pictures. Tell me what else you said. This is, yes, you all remember Mr. Bluer Than Blue. She said that Tim reminds her of the bluegrass version of Michael Johnson, who played here. His last show was here. He had his oxygen tank hidden behind this fern over here, and he had tubes in his nose, and he said, Glenn, it's hard to be a rock and roll star with tubes running out of your nose. So anyway, Tim, I think that's high praise. You know Michael probably, yeah. So with more high praise, how about more from Tim Stafford?
I'll take that. Yeah. And I love Michael Johnson. I mean, he's one of our favorites. And actually, a guy who engineered, I think, 3 of our records was Michael's nephew, Garrett Choza. I didn't know that they were related, and then once that somebody told me, I was like, you look just like him. How did I not know that? Well, I appreciate y'all sticking around. This is it's something I don't do a whole lot of, really. I don't do a whole lot of writers' rounds. I do enjoy it, but I play in Blue Highway. It's my main gig. But I like playing these songs. Otherwise, you probably won't hear them that much. This is one here that Bobby Starnes and I wrote, and he had the idea for this, and Bobby's had a lot of depression in his life, and he went through some really tough times with it, and this came out of one of those times, and I just felt like it said a whole lot without saying a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? One of these days gonna build me a boat, just to see how far she'll float. Where she sinks, I'll swim to shore, plant my feet and sail home. If I was a mountain man, I'd have been a northern man, off the grid and unexplored. I'd sit and watch the eagle soar. If I was homeless on the street, without a single bite to eat, had to beg just to survive, brother, would you spare a dime? If I were the king of kings, ruler over everything, I'd destroy the world and then bring it back to life again. If I had to write a song just to see who'd sing along, I have to leave some things unsaid, and when I'm gone, it'll go ahead. One of these days gonna build me a boat, just to see how far she'll float. Where she sinks, I'll swim to shore, plant my feet and sail no more. I come from is a little town called Kingsport, Tennessee. First planned city in America, believe it or not. Hard to believe, but it's really true. It's an industrial town. There's a chemical plant there called the Tennessee Eastman. It used to be part of Kodak. And a lot of people work there that live in that town. And I don't live there anymore because of that, because I can't stand the smell of it. So I got out there and moved to Greenville, Tennessee. But I'm proud to be from Kingsport. Right over the hill is a place called the Carter Fold. I don't know more what that is. It's the Carter family fold. It's sort of the Carter family's from. It always was amazing to me that back in 1928, a couple came down to Kingsport to the Lamb Music Company. It was a music company downtown on Market Street, and not far from a place that I later taught at. I taught guitar down on Market Street at another music store just a few years later. But this couple came down. They were looking for a guitar for this woman because she was a really good guitar player, and he decided he was going to just shoot the moon, and he was going to buy her the best guitar that Gibson had. And he bought her a Gibson L5, and her name was Maybelle Carter. And his name was Eck Carter, and that was her husband. And they bought that guitar, and 2 months later, she recorded this song. Glad to be where Maybelle Carter's from, and you got to realize now I don't know if y'all women knew this or not, the first great instrumentalist in country music was a woman, and she was the hero of not only Chet Atkins and Merle Travis, but also Earl Scruggs and a handful of others. The greatest instrumentalists who ever came through bluegrass music worshipped Maybelle Carter because she learned how to play rhythm and lead at the same time in this thing she called the Carter Scratch. She didn't use a flat pick, she used a thumb pick and another pick like this. So it's amazing to watch it. It's just an incredible style that she came up with, and she did it all on her own, really. There's a lot of other things in the area where I come from. One of them is railroads. I come from a place that had a lot of the early railroads that came to the mountains to take coal out, and the center of all that was a little town called Erwin, Tennessee. Erwin is a mountain town. It's also best known as the place where in 1916 they hung the largest elephant in the world by a railroad derrick because he killed his his trainer in a circus in Kingsport who was mistreating him. And he killed his trainer, and so they were going to shoot it, but they couldn't find a gun to penetrate its hide, so they hung the elephant. So that's one thing Irwin's known for. The other thing was the railroads, and the railroad company that was centered in Irwin was called the Clinchfield Railroad, and later on became the CC&O. And a few years ago, the CC&O moved almost all their operations out of Irwin. Tom Yates and I wrote a song about it that Junior Williams cut called Railroad Town Without a Train, because a lot of these places don't have trains anymore. They're still railroad towns, you know. But I knew a guy who was an engineer on the CC&O, or the Clinchfield, they all call it Clinchfield. And the day that he lost his job, he'd been working for 30 years as an engineer on the railroad. He wrote this thing on Facebook that just tore my heart out. I couldn't believe this story that he told. And so, you know what I did. Started to write it down. And so I had most of this song written and directly out of this guy. His name was Joe Barr, is his name. And he actually got his job back. I didn't know that till a few years later, but Steve Gully helped me finish this song. It's one called The Last Clinchfield Run. We'll try that again. How about that? It's my last run from Irwin on the Clinchfield tonight. Closed down the rail yard, the first morning light. Never had time for crying, not that kind of guy. No dreading the moment the sun starts to rise. Got the crew call this morning, the boss did this time. A short one, but a good one, the old number 9. Just me and Ed Williams, like so many before. But this time we both knew it meant so much more. Automatic is handy, but it don't have a feel. So I switched down to manual, 'cause manual is real, and I wanted to feel it around every curve. Just felt it was something we both deserved. I was talking to Williams, he's older than me, about the people we know and the places we'd seen. Then his eyes kind of sparkled, and I said with a smile, why don't you take her a couple of miles? So I'm standing in Irwin, and the yard's empty now. Don't know where I'm headed, but I'll go on somehow. I feel God on my shoulder and a tear in my eye. But we are in Clinchfield, my brothers and I. Do another song. I haven't done this one in a long time, but somebody reminded me of this song. It's one that Steve Gully and I also wrote. We wrote 4 songs in one day one time, and every one of them got cut, and this was one of them. We wrote one called Rider on an Endless Line that ended up being the title cut of my first solo record. And then we said, well, I've turned up, let's learn another one. So we wrote one called Nothing But a Whippoorwill, Blue Highway recorded. And then we did one called Snapshots and Souvenirs that Ricky Skaggs produced for Mountain Heart when Steve was in that band. But we also wrote this song, and our friends Kenny and Amanda Smith recorded it. Great group. Kenny's a great guitar player, and Amanda's a really, really good singer. And they still do this song, so I thought I would try to do it for you. It's one called Pacific Time. Got my tickets and my bags are packed. Seems I'm walking through this airport one more time. Left a message on my phone today. It's Pacific time. I don't know if I should call you back. We've been through it 100 times or more. Like a train that's running down the track. We both know what's in store. Still think about you all the time, but you're living 3 hours behind. Moving on in my mind, but I'm still on Pacific time. I remember a perfect sky. We were living like we'd never die. If we did, we wouldn't care. Now I'm looking for the words to say. The number's busy, but I'm still on the line. See clear at the end of the day. Not so clear, I'm running blind. Still think about you all the time, but you're living 3 hours behind. Moving on in my mind, but I'm still on Pacific time. Moving fast, but I'm further behind. Got to try just one more time. Still think about you all the time, but you're living 3 hours behind. Moving on, had my mind, but I'm still on Pacific time. Yeah, I'm still on Pacific time. All right, any requests? No, just kidding. Sorry. I'll tell you what I would like to do. I don't know how many of you know what flat picking is, and flat picking guitar. I was fortunate enough to co-write this book with Caroline Wright, who's a journalist from Hawaii, about Tony Rice. Tony Rice is I guess the greatest guitar player, acoustic flat pick guitar player who ever lived. But one of his heroes was a guy that I actually got to know a little bit, and his name was Doc Watson. You guys remember Doc?
Oh, yeah.
Doc was, he couldn't see, he was blind, but he was one of these guys that, he was one of the wisest people I ever knew, and his hearing was incredible. He could hear you coming from a mile away. And one time I was talking at Merlefest, and a friend of mine was leading Doc down through towards the stage, but he was still a good, I don't know, 400 feet away. And my friend said, when he got said, he said, "Hello, Tim Stafford." He heard me talking that far away. It's like, dude. But I thought in memory of Doc Watson, I played one of his tunes. This is one you probably have heard. It's sort of in his style. I can't do it anywhere near as good as he did. What a character. There's a lot of characters in this music, and Doc sure was one of them. It's from Deep Gap, North Carolina. I went over to his house, and there was a shed at the back of his house, and it's one of the prettiest little sheds I've ever seen. He used it to store stuff in it, and he put firewood in it and everything like that. He built that himself, and he wired it himself. He wired his house, too. And everything worked. I can't do it. Too good eyes. Strong constitution. Here's a song John Weisberger and I wrote. We did a lot of co-writing together. John's a great writer. He was the very first songwriter of the year for IDMA, and he works for Mountain Home Records now. And we wrote this song in a group called Special Consensus out of Chicago. They recorded the song. And it's called "Should've Took a Train." Should've packed me a suitcase, should've said goodbye. Should've bought a ticket on the 105. I should've left this morning in the driving rain, but I gave her one more chance of my heart. Should've took a train. Woke up this morning, blue as I could be. Some morning coffee staring back at me. A little voice said, "Son, why do you hang around? Letting a cold-hearted woman bring you down." Should've packed me a suitcase, should've said goodbye. Should've bought a ticket on the 105. I should've left this morning in the driving rain, but I gave her one more chance of my heart. Should've took a train. Can't believe my love, can't believe her lies.
a sad refrain. I took her word, should've took a train, should've packed me a suitcase, should've said goodbye. Should've bought a ticket on the 105. I should've left this morning, driving rain. One more chance in my heart. Why'd I do that? Gave her one more chance in my heart. Should've took a train.
Sorry, I got a little frog in my throat. Not a major one, just a you know, if you're a songwriter, you love all kinds of songs, all different styles. I've got in my songwriting seminar, I got 4 students right now, and one of them, she writes folk punk songs. And I love what she writes. She wrote, I gave them an assignment to write a historical song, and I gave them a few topics. They could pick which one they wanted. She picked Rosa Parks. She didn't even know who Rosa Parks was. She went and did all this research and wrote the damnedest song you ever heard about Rosa Parks. And it's great. I hope he gets a chance to hear it someday because I think it's going to be a hit. But her name's Chalk Hunter, and she's got green hair. Probably my best student, though. She's awesome. She's great. And so one of my favorite writers is a guy named Jimmy Webb. I don't know if y'all remember Jimmy Webb. I have to say that now because a lot of younger people don't know Jimmy Webb. But he wrote several of the greatest songs that, well, Glenn Campbell ever recorded, for example, Galveston. And of course, by the time I get to Phoenix, and the one that most people know him about is Wichita Lineman, which is got to be one of the top songs ever written, I believe. But Jimmy Webb is a piano player, and the way he thinks about melodies is really dictated by that keyboard. And the sounds that you can get there, you know, I was talking to Daryl Scott one time, and he said, the songs I write on the keyboard are totally different than the ones they write with guitar. And I think it's really true. It's something about that tonality that makes you think of things in intervals in different ways. But the chords Jimmy Webb used just blow me away. I just love his chords. And so Bobby Starnes and I, we said we're gonna write a dadgum Jimmy Webb song. that is our goal. And we were at Bobby owned a condo in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And we were down there, and I said, well, what's this going to be about? And I looked over on one of his pieces of furniture, and he had a little ceramic lighthouse. And I said, let's just call it Lighthouse. And so our challenge was to come up with a song like Jimmy Webb would write about that lighthouse. So that's what it's called. Every day dawning, winds from the east, salty cool morning, white-capped seas. February fall puts a chill in the air. I've always been here, foul weather but fair. Sailors beware. My brakes were laid in 1801, forged by slaves 'neath the red August sun, threatened by hurricanes, thundering hail, sharing my life with steamer and sail, standing against the gale. Tides ebb and flow, blue skies and gray, I still remain.
gaslight of power. Waves need the wind, the ship needs the sea. Lay down your head in lullaby dreams. I'll never sleep. Tides ebb and flow, blue skies are gray. I will remain. I'm gonna try this little instrumental for you. This is one of them instrumentals I didn't have a title for, so it's casting about, and I had a cat at the time. And have you ever had a cat that's, when they're really little, they're little kittens, they love to climb all the way up their curtains and get to the very top, and then you say, get down from there, and then they go. That's what this one did. And so I wrote this song after him dearly departed. He's not here anymore. But it's called Smitten Kitten. Kittens have more fun than anybody. I'd like to do a song for you. This is another one Steve Gillian and this is one that kind of was based on my dad in a way. My dad passed away back in 2001, and my mom's still alive. My mom is 98. How about that? Yeah, she's until like 2 years ago, she was outrunning me. I mean, it's crazy what she was able to do. She's kind of slowed down the last couple of years. But my dad was raised in a family. There just wasn't a whole lot to do. I don't believe back in them country families way back when. So they had kids. And he had 9 brothers and sisters. So there was 5 girls and 5 boys, and kind of like a Minnesota thing here too, you know. I mean, a lot of times in those years, and my dad was born in 1928. He ran away from home in the 30s. It was the Depression, you know. I mean, there wasn't much going on. Problem is, he was 15. First time he ran away, he was 13. Ran away to Idaho to dig potatoes. And he got back home. He was not greeted happily. Let's just put it that way. But the next summer, he went and worked on the Clinchfield Railroad up in Southwest Virginia, and did that for almost the whole summer.
and came back, went to school, ended up graduating from school. Eventually, he got a GED because the next year, all his brothers were fighting in the Pacific, so he talked his mom into signing it over when he was 16 years old to go be in the Navy in World War II. So that was the greatest generation, weren't they? I don't think there's any doubt. So this song here developed out of my dad's story with the Clinchfield Railroad. And I'll see if I can remember all of it. This is one that Blue Highway recorded, and it was Song of the Year one year in bluegrass music. So it's called Through the Window of a Train.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Everybody drives the same old roads these days. Don't see a thing, but they know the way. Every mile's a marker, every town's the same. Another place to stop, but not to stay. Daddy was a brakeman on the L&N. Sometimes he let me ride along with him. No matter where we'd stop along the way, everybody knew his name. A different story down every line. People working hard just to live and die. I saw it all once upon a time through the window of a train. Then we started back the way we came, like people moving through a picture frame. Seems the hope was further down the track, but I'm always looking back. Don't expect you all to understand. See the country like a railroad man. So many things you'd never realize as you saw them with these eyes. Birmingham to Jackson, hear the whistle call as the sun goes down like a big red ball. In my memory, I still see it all through the window of a train. Through the window of a train. Thank y'all very much. I'm going to do one more for you, and I really appreciate Glenn so much, and Tom. Tom was the one who contacted me about doing this, and I said, he said it's the Carnegie Hall of house concerts, and I said, I'm in. I don't care. I don't care anything else about it. It's got to be great, and it is. He told me all about it and raved about it, and he was right. Glenn, you got an amazing thing going on, and I'm just so glad that you guys have got this going again. Isn't that great? I'm just as happy as a pig in slop to be here. You know that? And I want to do that Billy the Kid song I was telling you about. I went through this phase where I just wanted to learn everything there was to know about Billy the Kid, so I wrote all these songs about, or read all these books about Billy. And the more I read, the more I realized that he was just this kid. He was just a kid, you know? I mean, he really was not all that. I mean, he's been made into such a hero, you know, through Hollywood, and you know how that works. But reminds me of my buddy Dan Smith. You guys know Dan.
Yeah.
And Dan and I wrote a bunch of songs together. He was the voice of George Clooney in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
And constant sorrow all through my days. I didn't think he sounded like Ralph. You know, like, then get, oh, Daddy, won't you spur me over to Britney Spears? Thank you. But you know how Hollywood does things, you know. I've got a script right now that's being made into a movie, and it's about Al Capone in Johnson City, Tennessee in the 1920s. And it's a lot of fiction in it, but they said they like that. This is the real story of Billy the Kid, kind of the way that I believe he would have told us if he could have told us what was going on in his life that caused him to get where he did. As Pat Garrett wrote into Fort Sumner. It's called The Kid, and thank y'all once again. I really appreciate y'all. I'm known as Billy Andrew, but McCarty is my name. They have heard of Wing Bobby. I suppose it's all the same. I sent King to shoot a pistol, as sure as I could point my hand. And I came to be an outlaw. I guess I'll never understand. See, I hired Johnny Tunstall, and he treated me so well. For him I gladly would have ridden through the very fires of hell. But he was killed by Jesse Evans. Oh, Dolan fired a shot as well. Not an hour spent in prison, at least by those who live to tell. I was brought in chains to Lincoln, barely clothed and poorly fed, before I left that stinking prison. 2 deputies are dead. Now I'm carrying old Fort Sumner, and Paulita's by my side, and my life is down to wondering how long an outlaw has to hide. If you're looking for a hero or a villain in this tale, you'll find both, most likely neither. Just a human urge to fail. For I am just a young vaquero, never courted crime nor fame. Now I wish those Eastern papers had never heard my